Hello, it's Frank, that one web guy, and I'm back with another video. In this video, I wanted to show you how to use AI tools, so this like image tools or the text chat, to create a adult coloring book. I guess it could be a kid's coloring book, but how to create a coloring book for your use there. So first, what we're going to do is decide what kind of coloring book we want to do. A couple things we could do, of course, is if we went to say like Amazon, we could check out the Amazon.com and type in best selling adult coloring books just to see what we would get. And you can see we have dogs and flowers and some mandala type patterns. We got some animals here, Zen coloring, relaxing coloring books, some with curse words, some with flowers, fantasy fairy homes, those type of things. Another way we could do that, of course, is just ask Chat GPT, or whichever you prefer to use. This is the one that I like to use. I use it quite frequently, but we could say, what are popular topics we could create an adult coloring book for? And we just click the enter key to see what it comes up with. It says creating an adult coloring book can be enjoyable and relaxing, blah blah blah. Some of the popular topics for adult coloring books include natures and landscapes, include a variety of scenes like forests, mountains, oceans, gardens, to provide those type of things as well. We have mandalas, animals from different wildlife scenes, animal designs, as we've seen puppy dogs and those type of things. You could do full-grown dogs or whatever. See architecture and cityscapes, historical buildings, famous landmarks, bustling cities from around the world, famous works of art. I would stay away from that just to play it safe, just because I guess you could do famous works of art as long as they're in the public domain. We could do that. Inspirational quotes, fantasy and mythology, mystical creatures, legendary heroes. We have celebrities and pulp culture. I generally try to stay away from those just because, you don't want to be have any copyright infringements. We have travel and culture, world cultures. So you could do like famous travel spots, travel destinations, abstract and geometric designs. So what I might try is architecture and cityscapes or something of that sort. And of course, I do not have my Discord. Now I do use Discord to contact or connect with MidJourney. So let's go down here to Discord and you'll see what I mean here. There are various different types of AI art programs. MidJourney is the one I like the best. You can see that I play around quite often with it. You can see that I just did a one on Jeeps, and I'll show you what I did there. But you can see as I scroll up here, I've done several on different, I've been playing with different paint textures. But you can see, sure you can. Okay, here's someone that I've done on Jeeps. So I'm just going to grab this here so I don't have to recreate it. And then I'll explain some of the different settings here. So of course we have to click on Imagine. Now, there are a way to generate a lot of images really quick without having to, change the prompt and go from there. So what we're going to do is we have the Imagine prompt, which is what we use here, and I'm going to paste in our coloring book page. We want to make sure it says thick, bold, black lines, solid white background, isolated object, fit on page. I'm going to say fit on the page. No fill, so it's not trying to color it in or anything like that. Isolated object means it's just that object. It's not trying to add additional items. On my Jeeps one, it did add like some background stuff, which is fine, gives the person more things to color in. Let me scroll back down here at the bottom. So what are we going to use? Now, if we look back at our topic here, I was thinking about architecture and cityscapes. What I want to try to refrain from is using a plural, because if I put in cityscapes, it's going to try to do those do multiple ones on the page. So what I might try to do is futuristic architecture coloring book page. Now I'm just going to do one, and then I'll show you how to create multiple ones. So I like to do one before I generate 40 or 50, just because what happens if I didn't like it? It didn't turn out the way I wanted. So let's go ahead and click this, and it should generate pretty quickly. This is waiting to start, and let's see where that goes. It's generally pretty quick, depending on how busy the engines are. And I'm not going to get into showing you how to set up a MidJourney account and all that kind of thing. I noticed it's got some shading here, but sometimes you can't really tell until the end. It'll knock some of that out after it generates. So let's see what happens here. We're getting some futuristic coloring book pages. And it's always kind of, you kind of pause to say, oh, what are we going to get here? Because you don't really know until the end. It's kind of murky and kind of grayed out there. Will this be something that'd be worth coloring? You really won't know until it's finished, because it will, clean up the back end. It'll take away some of the shading as it finishes, and it's about done there. We're at 78%, 93%, 95. Or maybe it's just going to jump to 100. Yep, just jump to 100. So let's see. Is this going to be too busy? That's one of the things that I like to check out. Is it going to be too busy? Is it just going to be a bunch of squares? So there's a lot to color in, but something like this, is it going to be that good of a coloring book page? Is it just going to be grays? Concrete buildings, you got blue grass or glass, those type of things. So maybe I'll come up with a different idea. Well, that's kind of cool. It's not going to give me what I want. We talked about nature up here was one of the top ones. So let me go ahead and paste in our the / click our prompt, and I'm going to put in our coloring book page. And in nature, let's try seashell coloring book page. That's kind of a nature. It says mountains, oceans, whatever. So let's try that real quick and see how that comes out. That's generating pretty quickly here. I did pause a moment because it was taking a moment to generate, but it looks like we have some kind of interesting seashells, some that are maybe actual type seashells, some that are a little crazy, but we could go with it and just see what's going on. So what I would do, if this is what we're going to do, we can grab this. I like how this turned out. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this, open up in a browser, which of course goes to my other screen. Let's pull that over here. So we have some that are a little funky looking seashells, but they would still be fun to color. Got some kind of ornate stuff going on here, just kind of crazy stuff. We think of a seashell being more like this here. It's still kind of be fun to color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a prompt here that we can generate multiple of these pretty quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and copy our prompt here. I'm going to do our / imagine prompt. I'm going to paste in. We have our seashell coloring page. And then at the end, I'm going to push -- repeat. I think it's actually has to be repeat 5 or something like that. Yeah, -- repeat. I think you can go up to 10 is what it is. In this case, just so that we're playing around, I'm just going to do 12 sheets right now. So I'm going to do repeat 3. Now you want to make sure you have a space between the repeat and the 3, of course. We're going to go ahead and click our return, and it's going to ask us, are you sure you want to imagine 3 prompts of, and it gives you the prompt, and I'm going to say yes. So 3 out of 3 jobs, it pops up 3 jobs there, and then it'll give us, like it did above, it'll give us 4 sets of, or give us 3 sets of the 4 different images, and it'll pop those up pretty quickly. Should be doing all 3 at once here. Yep. So we can see those there. I'm hoping I don't get all the same shell. Should be different seashells. I may have added something. We could add in our prompt high detail or coral shell, or we could add coral. We could add different types of shell. I just like to see where it generates and go from there. Whether I actually use this as a coloring book, I don't know or not, but I'll show you, just how to create yours. I mean, you can come up with other ideas. We're getting something a little crazy here, but not too bad. So, of course, as you know, if you've used any image AI bot, you can see here that we have different shells, and we'd want to upscale all of our different shells. Upscale is the U, and V is creating a different version if you're unfamiliar with that. So I'm just going to do 1 now so you can see how it goes. Let's grab this guy. It's upscale 2. I would do all of them as well, but it's going to create that real quick, and I'm just going to show you how to do it with 1 page, and go from there. So we have that. I can click here and I can save image. So then what I will want to do, I usually put them in a subfolder, but I just put it in my downloads folder for now. And then I go into Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, you can use Photo P. But what I like to do is I'll come up here and do a new file. I'll do print, and then it's 8.5 by 11. But on a coloring book page, I use 150 pixels per inch, just because it's black and white. It doesn't need to be 300 dots per inch, or DPI as they call it, or pixels per inch, the PPI. So I'm just going to do that. And what I do is I zoom in a little bit so I can get into the corner, and I'll just add a placeholder, and I'll come in here about, I try to do 1/4 inch in either way, and it generally will try to snap. Now, as I said, if you don't have Photoshop, you could use Photo P. It's an online editor that looks very similar to Photoshop, and it's totally free. I'm not going to get super precise here, or will I? I'm just putting in guidelines here so that I can know. So we need it's 8.5 by 11, so I need 10.750. Actually, I think I have this saved, and I could have done it that way, but I'm just showing you here. I'm just going to get it close and forget it. There we go. So, and I'm going to zoom back out. So it's that's Control minus and Control P, or Control plus on your keyboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, Import, and no, I want to do Place Embed. I'm going to find it on my computer here, which should be in my downloads. Place. Oh, of course, I have an issue with my Photoshop's acting up, so we would place that and your image would come up there. Oh man, man, that's frustrating. So let's try this one more time. File, Place Embed, go to our Downloads folder. There's our shell, and it'll place in there, and it'll probably go full page, which it does. So I'm just going to click this and snap it. If I hold down my Shift key, it'll try to snap it to that corner. And do it again here, click Shift and drag there, and it'll snap to that corner. And that just makes sure that I have a full margin around there. And then I just say File, save a copy, and we'll call it, let's save it on my computer. Just put it in our downloads page here. What I'm going to do is make sure that it says JPEG. And at this point, I usually make sure that I have a folder here. We can actually create a new folder called C Shells CB for coloring book. Save that, and I'll say page 01. Save. And I usually leave this at quality 8 high. You can turn on preview or turn it off if you want. I think it changes the size here. We're still a half a meg per file, which is fine. So we're going to click OK, and we've saved our first page. And then you go through and do that. So I could trash this and add our second image and so forth. I only have the one for the demonstration, but I'll pull up one that I've already done here previously. So what I have here is one that I've done. And you see I have page 1, page 2, page 3, whatever. And you can see that it's a mushroom house, what some might have called fairy house, or those type of things. Once I've created all my pages, I will select them all. And you can do this in both Windows and Mac. You can right click and convert to Adobe PDF. When you do that, it'll combine them all into one PDF. Generally, sometimes it tries to do it as individual pages, and you just have to assemble them all together, and then you have your PDF coloring book. A lot of times what I'll do is, of course, then like you can see here, let me pop this up. Let me pop up the cover here. I'll create a cover. It says we don't support this format. Nice. I think I have it here. Yep, here's that cover. I'll actually take the time to color. Oops.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Everybody's trying to get in the business here. So we'll color one, and I'll put it adult coloring book of 22 whimsical mushroom houses. And then you can see here that I've created demos using, I'll get to that in just a moment. These I just pull into Photoshop. These are examples of the pages. And I use a different service for this so they can get an idea as I do it in my Etsy store. So you can see the different images that you can create. I do these, you could do these, I do them in Photoshop, you could do them in Photopea, you could do them in Canva. A place that I like to use is called placeit.net. It's a fairly inexpensive service. They do have some that are free on here, but I go to print and magazines, and so like these here, I think this is one of them I used before, and it may even pop in my recent one that I did as it saves, as it pulls it open. You can see there's a off-road vehicles coloring book. I didn't use Jeep just because I have more than just Jeep in there, and of course Jeep is a trademark thing there. So what I could do is it goes to the edges, and I don't like that, so I can resize it. Oops. So I'll probably go like that and click crop. That's actually the cover instead of a coloring book page. Let's click replace and see what happens here. Usually it has something that you've already done. Yeah, recently uploaded, so I didn't do it on that other one. So let's just pop this one in here, and I want to make sure that I have a little bit of white space all the way around. Crop, and I'll put it on the second page here. So you can kind of see how I created that, and then I can just click download and use that as an image for Etsy. Now you'll need to resize that for Etsy standards. They generally like to have the shortest edge, which would be this size, to be 2400 pixels, and then whatever it is for a 16:9 ratio for that as well. I think it's like 3600 or something like that. So you could do that, download that. And there's, as I said, there's many of them you can see here. If we go to print magazines, I use this for my t-shirt shop as well. It's a good service to use, and I like using it. But let's go back to our process here. So we have our page created, explained how to create your cover. If you wanted to do a cover, generally on the cover, I would just say, I would just maybe shrink this down, put a go to like Pexels or something like that, Unsplash, and maybe get let's do that here real quick. Pexels is a stock photo service. It's free. So let's go. Let's see. Let's go to Pexels.com is one of them. Beach scene. So we have like some beaches here. This would be kind of cool here. I can choose what size to download it. In this case, I'm going to download the largest. You could create your cover in Canva as well as one of the services they recommend. I usually just use Photoshop or Photopea. I use Photoshop, that's what I use. But Canva is a way that you can create covers easily. I'm not going to do that right now just because of this. I'm going to try to keep this video reasonably short. So we could actually file, place embed, grab our downloads, place, let it go all the way to the edge on this, enter, and I'll just drag that layer behind the others. Let's go ahead and get rid of use our magic eraser tool and get rid of our background here. Have to rasterize the layer. There we go. Got rid of our background quick and easy. So we have our shell there, and then we could put our title up here at the top if we wanted, which we would. Seashell coloring book. Now, isn't that original? We can do something kind of big. I mean, you could pick, as I said, I'm just trying to keep this quick and fast. Make that a little bit bigger. I like the kind of the distorted font look there. Seashell coloring book. If I wanted to change the color, make it something a little more oceany. See if I can get a teal there. It's still kind of dark. Seashell coloring book, and then that would be our cover. And again, I would just save it as a JPEG and go from there. So we have our coloring book. We have our pages. I showed you how to create that. We have our cover. Now, one thing that I like to do is now see, I have an Etsy store. Is it open? Yep, here it is. If I go into my listings here, there are several different things that you would add on here. We use this one here. There's where we upload you add a photo, and we can add our mock-ups there. And I suggest creating more than just the 3, but whatever works best for you. We have this description down here, and we're like, oh man, I have to write all that. No, you don't really. Let me show you something here real quick. We'll go back to our Discord, and we'll come in here and we'll write one here called describe. Now, we know what our shell looks like, but to put it in words sometimes is a little difficult. So what I will do is I will drag our shell image down here, and it will describe what our shell image looks like. Now, the purpose of this is so that you could recreate it. So if you had like a different image and you're trying to figure out how it was created. But what I like to do here is I can grab this one. It says a pencil sketch of the whatever shell on a white background in the style of fine lines, a drawing a spiral shell drawn with a pencil in the style of intricate details. So what I can do is I'll grab this one here. And then I will go back to our Chat GPT, and I have that in this one here, and I will write a product description in a friendly but informative voice using this paragraph. Write a product description And we want the keywords here for a seashell coloring book. Not gook, book. And then we just click enter, and it will say introducing a captivating seashell coloring book, the perfect way to relax and escape, blah blah blah. Now you could actually say if you wanted 400 words, 600 words. Generally Etsy likes between 400 and 600 words. Generally in most cases this comes pretty close. I just take what it gives me. And now the reason it's spitting that out there we go. I can come up here and click copy and then just paste that into our coloring book page for our product description. We didn't have to write a word. That's kind of quick and easy. I would go back to my Etsy page and just paste it in here, as you can see that I've done here. And now I usually use this little bit here, print on regular size, 8.5 by 11. All coloring pages are for personal use only, blah blah blah. So if you have anything about reselling, they may not resell or distribute the image, and that type of thing. Of course, doing a post on Etsy, each coloring book would cost you 20 cents to post for 4 months, I think it is. You could come in here and put your product descriptions, fill in all the blanks. I've been listing them for $3 if it's like 20 pages, 50 pages I put $5. I'm testing prices still. You want to make sure that you click that it's a digital product. Once it's done, once you have it set to, right here it is, upload a file, and you click the upload and upload your completed PDF and click publish and you're ready to go. Now you want to of course put your keywords in here, and you have up to 13 keywords. So it's like, oh, what am I going to do with keywords? Here we go. Of course, again, we could write provide 13 keywords of 20 characters or less for the above product description. Yeah, I never can spell characters very often. We'll click that and it'll give us seashell coloring book, ocean treasures, nautilus shells, adult coloring, high quality paper, stress relief. So it gave us our 13. I think that's what we can use there, and then we can just copy and paste those into our Etsy store right here. And now I try to make sure it's like mushroom houses, fantasy mushroom, fairy mushrooms, magical mushrooms, mushroom coloring mushrooms, you know, that type of thing. But if you don't want to think that hard, you can of course use what's there and just copy and paste and publish, and just start collecting sales. See how that goes. That's pretty much the whole process, start to finish, of how to create. It's kind of quick. I kind of rushed through there quite a bit, but how to create your own coloring book and sell it on Etsy, using AI tools to get it done. I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. If you liked it, of course, be sure to like give me a thumbs up there, and subscribe. Go ahead and click the bell there. I do cover a lot of things between graphic arts, website development, website design, marketing, just different things like that. And of course, if you like this training, I do have a course called Earn a Little Extra Income, where I talk about different strategies, different topics on earning a little extra income. So go ahead and check that out as well. Link is in the notes below. Thanks.